Hi everyone, my name is Chris Martin. Welcome to Keto with me. It is day 35 on my journey back into keto. If you're new to my channel, check out my day 0 video where I cover the reasons of why I created this video series. Alright, let's roll the clip. All right, that was my day 35 clip. This is the end of week 5. Let's go through the numbers really quickly. My carbs yesterday were 19.4, so right at the cusp of being under my 20 that I want to make sure that I try to stay under. My blood glucose was 87. My ketones were 2.6. My weight was 211.4, so I had 0.1, just 1/10 of a point, or 1/10 of a pound, which brought me to 23 pounds exactly for 5 weeks. So woohoo there, that's pretty good. I had a Dr. Boz ratio of 33, so I'm staying under that 40. That really makes me pleased. And then my GKI was 1.9. So again, I'm just tracking that for the sake of tracking it. I like following Dr. Boz's one. So my macros were 71% on my fat, 7% on my carbs, and 22% on my protein. So I had to do pretty much what I did the other day, trying to shore up my, my one meal that I'm eating right now to try to get it closer to the fat. So I ended up adding some MCT. I didn't want to do that to begin with, but now that I think about it, I got to, get rid of the MCT anyway. Actually, I might just keep it around. You can use it for things. You can put it on salads. You can put it on, you can put it in stuff to kind of make the, just bring up the fat anyway. And again, it did not make me wired. I thought it would really make me like awake. So, all right. So into week numbers, I kind of wanted to share, what I lost between week 4 and week 5. So I lost 4.2 pounds, which is a pretty good week, considering. Let me see, is that right? Yes, I was at 18.8 at the end of the 4 weeks, and then at the end of 5 weeks, I was 23 pounds. So that is pretty good. That's, I was tickled about that. My average blood glucose for that time period was 85, so I'm doing really good about, staying down there, and then my average ketones was actually 2.5. That really tickled me because, to keep that thing, high, but not like, insanely high. I don't want to go too past. I had a 3.1, I believe, in that week. Yes, I did. If you remember that little diagram I shared before that had the nutritional ketosis, curve on it, and like once you start getting like past, I don't know, 3.2, 3.3, maybe 3.4, somewhere over past the 3s, you're not really doing, they call it starvation ketosis, so I want to make sure I don't go too far that way. The 3.1 doesn't bother me. If I would be starting to get like middle 3s, I'd be a little concerned about that. So overall, a very good week. Tomorrow I'll be starting, week 6. I do have some changes coming. I have an announcement tomorrow, just a real quick blurb about it. I'm just changing the frequency, all the same stuff, just changing the frequency to try to keep this from being so duplicated. So, all right, that's it for my daily recap. Let's move on to my goals. All right, let's talk about my day 35 goals. This is the end of week 6, so I'll be crossing over to, week 7 actually. Sorry, it's the end of week 5, crossing over to the end of the beginning of week 6. So, wow. Right off the bat, you'll see I have, I didn't get as much sleep last night, so I'm a little out of sorts. So I only had 6 hours sleep. I put myself in the good category that I almost feel more like okay. I should probably change that, but I'm just going to leave it like that. As far as eating keto, my fasting, I ended up with 24 hours and 30 minutes. I was just going for a regular 23-in-1, and then my son, I forgot we had an event yesterday. I didn't forget it, it falls right at like 5 o'clock. So, and then we don't get back until like 6:15. So it kind of forced me to have that extra hour of fasting before I ate. So that put me in beast mode for that category. The style keto, dirty clean, always emphasis on clean. Did a nice home cooked meal. Spaghetti squash, just had 4 ounces of the spaghetti squash, just a tablespoon of our homemade sauce that we make, and some meatballs. And then, like I said in the previous recap video, I had to augment it some with MCT, and then I threw some other stuff that had fat in it, like some cheese, just stuff to give me a little extra. Again, as I'm getting towards the end of the meal, I'm like really feeling full. When I get done, I really do not have like any desire to eat anymore, and even throughout the rest of the evening. So I'm really getting used to it, and that's really good. Sometime I'm hoping to do a longer fast, but that will come later on. So the macros, adding in surprisingly where I got the most carbs for the amount of food was that little, like almost tablespoon of that tomato sauce. And again, I overestimate things just to be safe, but that right there is actually what caused it to go, like, I think it was like 3.8 carbs just for that. The spaghetti squash itself wasn't that terrible. So moving, and the rest of the macro percentages, since I did add the MCT, brought me up into like the 70s for that, for the fat percent, and the carbs were around like 6%, I think is what it was. So looking good there. So you see, I'm like on the right side of this, my spreadsheet here. I'm in beast mode and trying to nail everything I can. It's the end of the week, so I've done a video every day of the week. So I'm in beast mode for that as far as learning goes. And then as far as tracking goes, I've got my, journal, I've got my, spreadsheet here, I've got chronometer where I'm tracking everything, which is keeping me, pretty much on track. So meditation and relaxation, I had 5 and 5 yesterday as my typical. And as far as exercise go, nothing yet, but I was hoping to maybe do like a P90X yoga today or tomorrow, but that would be on week 6s. So that's it for my goals for the end of week 5 and day 35. Let's take a look at the video recommendation. All right, let's talk about the day 35, end of week 5 video recommendation. So this one is a doozy. So it's an hour and a half long, but I'm going to share a link for the trailer, and then you can decide whether or not you want to watch it. But real quick, why did I pick such a long video? So I have an announcement tomorrow, I kind of alluded to here, that I'm changing the frequency of how often I release. It's going to be the same format, same content, and stuff like that, except it's just going to be 3 times a week, So I figured it would be good to end the daily, this first 5 weeks series with, something that I think is a really good video for us to watch. It's a movie, so sit down with your, family, just watch it yourself. But I think you're going to like it. Now, it has been like 4 years since I've seen this We'll just call it a movie since it's that long. But so I took like extensive notes. I'm not exaggerating. I got like 5 pages, and that was after like halfway through, and then I was just like, okay, they can watch it. But I'm not going to do all 5 pages. I just wanted to make sure I jotted down some things I thought were important for you. But the name of the movie, or documentary, is actually what it is. It's by Robert Tate. It's called The Magic Pill. So when I started my journey on excuse me, on keto before, I was probably 6 months, a year into it, and someone was like, hey, I know you do a lot of keto stuff. I was watching something on Netflix, and they were like, we found this thing and talked about the ketogenic diet, and it sucked them in, and they were just like, it was very fascinating. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll go check it out. So it's a documentary, and what the director does is, it's an Australian documentary, and he goes around and what's really nice about it is it's like all over the world. So you'll see the video just cycles through these different, it's like one of the first groups that they introduce is the Aboriginal tribes from, I think Australia, and right away they make it very clear that when the white man came in, they introduced all these foods, and that before that the people were very strong, and they're healthy and had no signs of heart disease, diabetes, or anything like that. And then after a period of so many years, they were like essentially decimated by it. I mean, they completely just changed the complete course of their health, by this introduction. And so what they do is they pan between these people. There's a lady in I think Las Vegas. Her name is Michelle. They talk about her situation and how many different medications she's on, all these issues she has, like asthma and all this other stuff. And then they go to switch over to this to this girl. I want to say she's probably 7, 8. And her name is Abigail, and she's autistic, she's nonverbal, she's basically a 2-year-old, and they talk about like the struggles they have with her. And in that same family, they talk about the grandmother, who's starting on the same track as her mother, or their grandmother, where she's starting to show the same signs of like heading towards Alzheimer's and some other things. And she has a host of health conditions as well as taking like painkillers and stuff. And they switch over to at some point there's a cancer patient, and she had like done 0 like chemotherapy, 0 anything, and like reduced all the tumors. They switched to a doctor, actually a professor, I think, probably a PhD, but that he had made a tweet when someone said, hey, I'm having this trouble with my kid or something like that. And he said, hey, you should try this diet. Well, the their medical association in Africa just attacked him and put him on before a review board, and you're ready to strip his license. And he's, so they panned to them. And then I'm trying to make sure I kind of just mentioned the key figures here. There were a few other people. Oh, they go to another, autistic child. And they just, they go and they show kind of like this, there's a vegan on there that, was so anti-animal, everything, but then came to the realization that, we need to go back to the way we used to be. Our lands would be better if they did this. But what's really fascinating, I will just talk about Abigail for a second, the young autistic girl, and give you just some of the highlights of her success. And you'll watch it, and I love how the director, they give you a piece of the Aboriginal tribe, they give you some of Abigail, and then some of the of the grandmother, and then they go and they give you some of the some of Michelle, and then they give you some of this other person, and some of this, and then the other struggles that they're having with trying to discuss, maybe it's the diet that's causing all the issues. It's not necessarily fat. So, and it just, keeps round robins between them, like they do in a lot of series or documentaries or anything really, to try to give you an update as they go through. So the dad of Abigail, he's on camera and he's talking about this huge cocktail of medications, so Abigail has somewhere between, and I think I wrote it down as like 50 seizures a day. She takes some of the strongest seizure medication you can get. He explains what her diet is. He's explaining that, just everything that goes on with her, that she's constipated. She literally has to take Miralax every single day, and she's got like a little distended belly, that they talk about. So what they do just about her for, I think this is good, is they say, let's give us 10 weeks. Let us put her on a ketogenic diet for 10 weeks and let's see, but you have to go all in. And when you're watching it, like the first 5 days that they talk about, they don't show all 5 days, but they talk about, in one of the scenes, like this first 5 days was just brutal. And you can see, she's crying all the time. Because they're switching her diet. She wants to eat chicken nuggets. She wants to eat, goldfish. She wants to eat all the stuff that, a lot of kids these days get, but they've taken it away from her and they're giving her, whole foods, vegetables with fat, meats, and, all these things that are, key things on it. And after 5 days, I need to find this, after 5 days, she's calmed down. After 5 days, she uses a fork. She's never used a fork ever before. And that just kind of blew my mind. And then, as she progresses, they talk about like at 5 weeks, she's completely off of like, the laxative. They're starting to wean her down a little bit on the medications, and you just see it. And then by the 10 weeks, she's like speaking, but she's now like, she's got the, the dad made the estimate, so it's not like a doctor said, hey, she's got the, she's like a 2-year-old. So they don't know really where she's at yet, but it's a huge transformation. It will make you cry. It is that impressive when you watch it. So one of the other people that I had forgot is that there was a nurse in the United States who was taking like long-acting insulin, short-acting insulin, and the amount of insulin she was taking and all the issues that she had was just huge. Like mega, like insane. And within so many days of it, she's off of one of them, and then she was able to, get off of all insulin completely within. It wasn't like a hugely long period. It might have been like 10 weeks or something. I honestly don't remember. But so you'll see these different people, and then Michelle in Vegas, her stuff changed a lot, and they just go through everything that happened, and then they show you these, this trial, so to speak, or this review board of that professor in South Africa, and him defending himself, and him explaining, that it was the introduction of carbs, not saturated fats, that is doing this to South Africa. So you'll see they'll be making like different meals. You'll see some of the people on there that, basically they're just saying, let's go back to eating meats and vegetables, So it is really good. There was also a discussion in there about, oils. We've talked about oils before, but like how most oils are processed, and you have to have, it's like a very industrial process to do it. I really liked the video. I just remember watching it the first time just in awe. So where do you find the video? So the video is actually I watched it on Amazon Prime. I had actually had it from before, you know, and I had actually purchased it, but it used to be on Netflix, and Netflix took it down because Netflix, of course, said this is harmful. You know, it's not good for people. So maybe they think it's not good because it makes, you know, it goes after the big, you know, the big companies that, you know, promote grains and, you know, sugars and all that other stuff. I don't know, but I did see, you know, when I went to their IMDb page and a few other places, that it's available on Peacock, it's available on Hulu, it's available on Tubi, and then obviously Amazon. I'm sure you could probably find it out there free somewhere. I just didn't go look for it, and obviously I can't share a free link like that you know, surpasses that. But it is really, I think, worth your time watching if you have some time. I'm not, you know, I think it's fascinating. I mean, look at it, you know, judge it for yourself. Tell me what you think in the comments of the movie. You know, I didn't see anything in there that was like they were trying to force you this way or force you that way and say that you can never do this or that. I thought it was just, here's some people we looked at, here's what we did, you know, here's what they did, and here's their success. It wasn't like, if you do this, you're going to get exactly the same results. So that's it for my, you know, video recommendation. Again, I'll have a link to the trailer, and that trailer will be, I think the trailer is on YouTube. And then from there, you can go find it elsewhere. And then I'll also put down in the description a link to their IMDb, just so you can kind of go read, you know, a little bit more about it. That's a long one, but I think it's a really good cap for the end of the daily series. And well, that's it for day 35, folks. Thanks for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe so you can keto with me. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Just remember, none of us are perfect. Be a coach, not a critic, and take care.